and say, I'm taller than you, bitch.
And you disrespect
and you
the
want to
culture.
look down on everyone else, then you're disrespecting the culture. Now I have a problem with your fucking restaurant and your food, and so do the rest of us. Because right there, that's not it. That's definitely not how you do it.
Lucky Boys Podcast.
Painted. That we eat in restaurants with neon lights. You know,
20%, just the 20%. They're offering just the 20%.
So we're asking for the same equal rights as everyone else. We're not asking for more, and we're not willing to accept less. We're asking for the same damn thing. And if you don't take it while we're asking, eventually, if you don't give it while we're asking, eventually it's going to lead to something much bigger, and it's going to be a much bigger problem for those people to control. It's going to be a bigger fire than you can ever imagine.
Right.
So to those people, you have to be careful, because right now we haven't really began the true fight. We're just asking right now. We're trying to do this peacefully. And if that doesn't work, somebody else, it may not be us, but there will be someone else. There will be someone else that's going to put their foot down, and it's going to start a movement. And that person, that man or woman, would be able to gather enough people to rally behind this. It's a new generation. You guys must be careful. You got to stop playing these stupid games. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Mic drop.
Yeah. They need to understand that there's other people fighting for us, that we don't all have a crabs in a bucket mentality, and that our stories are actually very rich and very beautiful and deep. Our culture is so powerful and just absolutely gorgeous. Don't get drowned out by this.
The modern minority myth, the stereotypes.
But if you want to look at it as a cool factor, if you're a teenager and you're listening, or you're in your 20s or 30s, whatever, you want to look at like the cool factors, we have the coolest fucking shit. But it's up to you guys to take that history that we have, that they left for us, and modernize it to this day and age and make it cool for yourself. Kind of do a little bit of a remix because everybody else does it.
Right.
Why can't we take our own stuff and remix and make it dope, right? And modernize it for our generation? Why don't we do that, right? There's a lot of cool things about our stuff, man. I'm telling you, look at the movies, look at the clothes, look at, come on, they got Year of the whatever, rat, horse, sneakers, you know, that they take, you know, they take a lot, these corporate entities take what we have, and how many Chinese people get paid off of that?
Yeah.
How many Asians get paid off of their ideas? Is that monetized?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other thing is, like, talk about food. You know, if you have time in the future time, we should have a whole conversation on chop suey, right? I cook chop suey. That's how I paid my way to college. So all you people who never cooked chop suey, stop knocking it. Stop making excuses. Stop saying how wrong it is.
Stop saying you never ate it.
Stop saying you never ate it, right? Stop saying, stop knocking. The first fusion food in America should be recognized as that, and not a travesty that you guys took it to be. So for all you foodies out there, stop knocking it. I want to be the voice for all those voiceless chefs who did an honest living. The cooking style is 100% Chinese. They learn how to make it work. Instead of recognizing for that, you guys are making fun of them. So don't victimize your own people. So unless you have cooked Chinese,
don't shame them.
Don't shame them. You have never cooked chop suey before. I have, and don't knock it.
Now, how do you feel about that? I mean, recently that has been a subject matter where people are addressing. That's been gaining some headlines, where non-Asian people either making Chinese food or owning a Chinese restaurant or a dim sum restaurant,
or even taking a name like an Asian type name, but it's not, has nothing to do with Asian cuisine.
Well, let's stick with that first, where they are making Asian cuisine and they're just not Asian though.
I mean, in a day is appropriation.
If they do it in a respectful way, right? I mean, if they're like, hey, I'm paying homage to your culture, that's one thing. But when they got shit like, oh, I'm doing this because it's more healthy. I'm like, hey, a quarter of the world's population are Chinese. If it's not so healthy, we'd be dead by now. Like, come on.
Right.
And we won't be living to 90s, 100 years old.
Right. Asians at the in terms of longevity is number one in this in the world, definitely New York, right? So I think if they do it in a respectful way and not just profiteering off of it. I mean, we're talking about lettuce wrapped. So I did a whole lot of research. I did a whole, my proudest moment is during the 150th anniversary of the Golden Spike, I was actually invited to be part of that program. I did a whole cooking thing about what they cooked. From that research, I find out like, hey, don't knock it. There's
That sounds like a fun venue to be
that's
at.
a lot of things that, so, but people are all knocking, Chinese. So if they respect it and not profiteering off of it, I'm all right with it. The problem
So
is,
am I.
Right?
So am I. I'm okay with Mexican, white, Italian, Japanese, whoever. If they want to open up a Chinese restaurant and they do it right and not knocking it, saying that it's better than actual Chinese restaurants.
And you know what? We're going to do something good. We're going to donate to the homeless. We're going to give some money to China. I was like, come on, man. Here you go again. Like, we're the perpetual victims. We're the perpetual foreigners, and we're the perpetual victim needing a handout. Like, come on. All right? So
yeah, we're not looking for that. I can tell you that right now. That's never been within our culture. I can remember as a kid when other parents, because I didn't grow up rich, and when my other friends, when I started making a different network of friends, and my parents started, they're seeing like they're giving me gifts, like their parents were buying me like clothes and baseball cards, like a whole box of them. Whereas back then I would only have I had to save up just to get one pack with the gum in it. You got the
little tin can where you save them in, and you go,
exactly. I had a tin can and I kept it in my box of my most recent sneaker that I bought because I only had one pair of shoes, So I had everything in there. And when I started coming home with like these baseball, my mom and dad, my mom's going, where the heck did you get that from? And then when they started finding out that I was getting stuff either from my relatives or friends, she would go, give it back now.
That's right.
Give it back.
That's right. That's what my dad would say to me as a kid.
I hated that.
He says, remember, when you walk into a store, all right, unless we're going to be buying something, don't touch it. All right? And don't walk too fast. Right? Walk slow. Right? And he says, the fact that we don't have money, you're not buying anything, so don't touch anything. So, but we're going to go in there because some relatives are there. So, you have those conversations with your parents, and then, and then you hear all this crazy stuff with people judging you with, what have all these ideas about you, right? That I say, you know nothing about me, right? Just because now I got to run IT for a couple of hospitals and all of a sudden you know nothing about me. Don't make those assumptions. Right. But there's a lot of other history. But when they see that, I think that's why classism is the biggest issue than anything else. Right. We definitely have to fight it. And I think we definitely, again, tell a more richer story of what's behind it. Don't let other people tell a story. When we start repeating it without fact checking it, we are accessory to a crime.
Yeah. And I'm happy to eat Chinese food made from anyone as long as it's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Like if a white man wants to make my Chinese food, if a black man, if a Mexican, I don't care. If it's good, I'm there. Like
Cheesecake Factory's got like egg rolls, lettuce wrap. That's all Chinese
and
food.
You know what? And, exactly. And then you know what? And there's Chinese people that own sushi restaurants.
That's right.
I know a very good place that does like $50 omakases, and they're owned by Fujianese people. Mm-hmm. And it's a really high-end Japanese food. I mean, we went there to eat.
They source it direct products from Japan.
And I've gone into pizzerias made by Mexicans.
Right.
Fully made by Mexicans, and I even think it's Mexican-owned. So, but the Mexicans are making the Italian food in that specific restaurant that we went to, and the pizza, and it's absolutely delicious.
Right.
Delicious. And I've actually seen a couple of Mexicans cook in the Chinese restaurants in Chinatown. Yep. In the back when I walked by, I was like, oh shoot. Yeah. So you know what? And it was delicious. So I have no problem with that. But the problem lies when you try to make yourself seem holier than thou.
Right.
And when you have to step on that fucking pedestal and say, I'm taller than you, bitch.
And you disrespect
and you want to look down on everyone else, then you're disrespecting the culture. Now I have a problem with your fucking restaurant and your food, and so do the rest of us. Because right there, that's not it. That's definitely not how you do it.